Sukkah Daf Zayin. We had just on the end of Daf Vav Mabez, we had spoken about where do you put that extra tefach, right? You have two full walls, and the fourth wall is a tefach. And we want to know, this tefach wall, where do you put it? I'm going to do something slightly random over here. Let's see. Here, I'm going to make this wall as it is over here. And, oops, that's not going to work. Let's make this a group, and then we'll trim it. Really? I thought you were a solid group. Okay, we have some top issues. Here, let's close the top off. And now we can trim that off. And maybe not. Well, it worked. Okay, so Gemara wants to know, where do you put that extra tefach? So we had said you put it Keneged HaYotzei, you put it over here. That's what Rav had said. And Rav Kana Rabbi Yasi asked Rav, beginning of Zayin Amud Aleph, V'yamidenu Keneged Reish Tar, why don't you put it Keneged Reish Tar? The way the Rishonim seem to understand this is that they're asking, why can't you put it here? And Shasik Rav is quiet, as if like, yikes, you got me. Rashi doesn't learn that way. If you look at the picture in Rashi, you get this weird bend. Rashi says, Rashi saying if the walls of the sukkah are on the north and the west, then you would put it going southeast. So the way that Rashi understands this question on Rav seems to be that you ought to have it angled towards the other wall. That was actually a bit too extreme of an angle. I'm going to do a 45-degree angle. And that way, it looks as if this third mini wall is also doing the job, not just of wall 3, but also of wall 4. I'm not clear exactly what the oomph of the kasha is. Reish Tar hu telemane shall seif sadash atzlamim kalim v'hochen balaksen za'arich mizeh ma'at. Rashi says, Maisa, Reish Tar, I believe, is more mashma like Rashi is explaining it in the Mishnayos and Kilayim and other places, that it's a Reish Tar would mean a diagonal thing which ends, it's not parallel, it ends to a point. Okay. But it marnami. Omar Shmuel Mishmeit Levi Ma'amina Keneged HaYotzei. Shmuel, the name of Levi, says you put it Keneged HaYotzei. Rabbi Simon V'Tamer Rabbi Shua ben Levi Omar Ezlei Tefach Soichek Umamidei Bepachas Mishleisha Tzvachim Samach L'Daifen V'chal Pachas Mishleisha Samach L'Daifen Kilav Adami. Oh boy. So there's a lot to unpack over here. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, or Rabbi Simon, says, first of all, you make a tefach seichek, which means a laughing tefach. This would be a very stern tefach, gripped together, as opposed to a looser, more laid-back, chilled-out tefach, which is wider, which ends up being a chumrah. So Rashi tefach seichek moeded bedal it's ba'isha einam noiges zubezu davi tefach umashu umamida bepachas migimel. Somach la'akas had defined to pachis migimel klav. Ravi like mechitz shal dal tvachim umeshach sukkah shiva nimtzeru b'shal daifen asui. He seems, Rabbi Shua ben Levi seems to be arguing on Rav and saying that a sukkah in that case would not be kosher by just adding another wall of a tefach over here. Now what he's saying is you have to do two things. First of all, I'm going to move it 3 tefachim away from the wall. But 3 tefachim is too much. So I'm going to move it basically 2.999 tefachim away from the wall. There. That's the first thing that I did. Something does not feel aligned about the way that happened. Here, let's try that again. Okay, it's better. Also, though, our goal is to have at least conceptual wall of 4 tefachim. And how very odd that, you know what? I think the problem is that I did too many 0.9, so it ended up moving all the way. All right, now we don't have lavud, because now we have a gap of 3, so I'm going to move it a little bit that way. That was obviously way too much. I'm going to do like 0.01. But now that we have closed the lavud gap, we have a different problem, which is that we don't have 3 tefachim followed by another tefach. And that's why he said to make a tefach soichek, make it a little longer. I'm making it too much longer. Really, you have to do, let's say, this much more. If you want to see the difference, we went from that to that. And now, it's a tefach soichek. And now we got a full 4 tefachim from the wall to the end of this tefach soichek wall, which gives us the conceptual lavud, which would look something like here. Let's make a transparency wood color. Here. All right. Here is our conceptual lavud wall being formed. I don't like it. I think we need to make it more invisible-ish. There. So now our lavud wall over here is working because it's less than 3 tefachim, and you now have 4, which is a clear majority of the shear of a sukkah, and that's enough. That's already like a half wall. And that's what you got to do with the tefach according to Rishu ben Levi. Okay, fine. New Gemara. Omar Rav Yehuda. Zok Rav Yehuda. Sukkah hasuya kimavoy. A sukkah that is made like a mavoy. Rashi has kimavoy hamefulush. Sheshtei adefana is zu keneged zu. Ksheira. Ksheira is like Rashi donami kari kel chasen. So now, until now we've been talking about where you have your 2 walls of the sukkah, right, meeting each other. But you can also have it, and I want to basically use this same sukkah template to bring out the point of what's changing in this sugya. So I'm going to select this, but not that, or that. And let's bring it over here. Let's get rid of that. And let's color that. All right, so now that's only 1 wall. And the second wall is going to be on the other side. All right, here is our sukkah ha'asuya kimavoy. So what do? He says it's ksheira, because actually saying it's also shtayim kel chasan. Obviously, it's not ksheira the way that it is right now. We're going to need another tefach. All right, great. Let's go get our tefach. Here is our tefach wall. Where are we going to put it? Zok the Gemara. Va'isay tefach. I think this is continuation of Yehuda's did ma'amidei the chol ruach sheyirtzeh. Put the tefach wherever you want. Zok Rashi. As we had said before, that you put it keneged hayotzeh, you put it where the wall ends, and before you only had 2 places to put it, either here or here. But now you have, Rashi says, you have 4 places to put it, right? You could put it here, right? Here, or here. So pick whichever yotzeh you want, however you do it, your yotzeh. Get it? Let's see. Bam. Perfect. Sagt Rashi. Okay, new Gemara. Rabbi Simon, no, meaning it's a hemshach of the Gemara before. Meaning, Rabbi Simon ben Levi is saying that in the case of Shtaim Kel Chasan and a tefach when the two walls were touching, he's saying there's a specific way to set up your wall of a tefach so that you can get 4, etc. So in this case, where your sukkah is 2 walls that are separate from each other, he's going to say you have to do something else to make it work. So they pass you need to make not just a teeny tefach wall, you have to make a pas, which is a larger wall section, which is 4 tefachim and a little bit more, and put it within 3 tefachim of the wall. So again, you're basically trying to get 3 and 4, because 3 is lavud and 4 is your wall, but you have to make it a little bit less than 3, and to compensate for that, you have to make it a little more than 4. Pasar ba the kirmin and lavod igazayin tvachim erech de sukkah ketana. So before we get into the Gemara analyzing why you would need that, let's just build up his case. Again, we're going to move this away from the wall. Just under 3 tefachim. And before, we had already made this slightly more than a tefach. Now we're going to make it, I'm just going to add another 3 tefachim to it, which total would make it just over 4. And now, from there until the wall at the beginning, you have 7 tefachim, which is the share of a small sukkah. And now it's good. So this Gemara asks, yeah, but why? How come Rebbe, who was it? Rebbe Simon, Rishu ben Levi, over there you said all you needed to do was this. Once we have a lavud thing over there, I'm just going to borrow it, so we can also show the lavud happening over here. Alright, this is kind of weird, having a lavud floating in space. Here, let's put it where it goes. Bloink. So how come over there all you needed was a single tefach? And here you need a pas, a whole wall unit of 4. So again, to which the Gemara answers, but which we know, but we'll have to see why this makes a difference. Over there you had 2 walls done kehil chasan properly. I need is that tefach set up to boink into a 3rd wall. But you don't have 2 walls. I mean, you do, so I have to see what that means. If you have that wall of 4, it works. Otherwise, no. Zokt Rashi. Steht defanoi shleimois kehil chasan kmin gam de nearest mefulashos ki hai. Meaning the ikar is not that's kehil chasa, but it doesn't look mefulash in this case, so it doesn't take as much to do the extra bump to make it a kosher sukkah. As opposed to here where you have 2, I guess, discrete entities. Then if you're going to try to sukkahlize it, you're going to need to have an entire sukkah on the wall, even though you have a bigger gap, it seems, beyond that. Okay? The Gemara continues, Amar Rava ve'initars el b'tzuras ha'pesach, which is a chumrah. He's saying that the only way that the sukkah will be mutter is with the tzuras ha'pesach. So the Gemara weiter, Ikdami Amar Rava ve'initars nami b'tzuras ha'pesach, that you can also use Tzuras Pesach, which means he's saying a kula. You can either do this or that. Super chumrah. That you're also gonna need Tzuras Pesach. Just before we do Rashi, let's finish up. Rav Ashi Ashkechel Rav Kana. Rav Ashi discovered Rav Kana. The Ka'avid Tefach Seichek. First of all, he was doing that setup with the loose Tefach. The Ka'avid Tzuras HaPesach. Amar Lei, Rav Kana said, if Ashi said to Rav Kana, L'sover Mar L'hod the Rava, Amar Rava v'teres nami b'Tzuras HaPesach, that you could do a Tzuras HaPesach instead of an extra tefach. Amar le, no, okay, it's really. I hold it the chumr lashon of Rava. Amar Rava tzrichanami tzuras Pesach. That you also need the tzuras Pesach. So what's going on over here? It's like Rashi. Amar Rava, vein tzuras el tzuras Pesach. But Erevin, Amar, heichei dami tzuras Pesach. Tzura is the image, the form of. Pesach is an opening, a doorway. So what is that tzuras Pesach? What is something which appears doorwayish? Kana mikan v'kana al gabeihen. So. I don't know if I want to get into the tefach soichek business. So I'm going to start afresh by just making a very minimalist tzuras Pesach. Here we go. Okay. So, Tzuras Pesach is, Rashi says, you have a kane, a reed, meaning a pole of where it doesn't actually matter if it has a specific diameter. And you're going to also have the same thing going on the other side. And there's going to be another one on top. I'm wondering if I can get it to rotate into place. That's going to be tricky. Maybe. Yeah, whatever. Here, I'll just have it go a little bit wrong and correct it. Okay. Alright, so you have to have, right, you have a kane on each side. Oh, come on. Here we go. And a kane on top of them. Alright, gorgeous. Here we have Tzuras HaPesach, which right now in this Lashon of Rava, we're saying sounds like instead of the Tefach. Okay. V'achak Amar Rava the Tefach sheshina b'brayis shemata b'dofen shlishis einay mater elim ken asay lo isay Tefach Tzuras HaPesach al p'nei kol dofen kuloi. Aha! Oh boy. I'm going to have to eat my words. I was saying that Tzuras Pesach could be minimum thickness, but now we're saying, because you need a tefach in the third wall. Ketzad, kana shel chatzi tefach, etzel ha'yotze, v'kana shel chatzi tefach, b'mitzay shekenegdoi, which Rashi doesn't call the Reish Tar, v'kana al gabei, mizeh lezeh, then, davalik ilu kol ha'doif, and sasan to Pesach, Tzuras Pesach, stimum al yossi, b'rek am de'ervim, mizeh tefach, she'amr chachamim. So now, what's happening is we're saying that the first kane that you put there needs to be at least a half tefach, and the kane on the other side is also going to need to be a half tefach. And now between the two kanim you have a full tefach, and that is the third wall, which is a tefach, which you're saying is kosher, which is much more of a chumrah than we saw coming. You think you've seen enough? Well, now we're going to go a little bit more lakula, but let's finish the Rashi first. Or did we? Yeah, we did. The second lashon in Rava is, a Tzuras Pesach is an alternate way of doing it. Mashma the tefach sheshenenu, hainagad the parah should be similar la'il. Like it could be Simon who said that you do a tefach soichek, which is interesting that Rashi got into Rabbi Simon as opposed to Rav, which would be I would think the natural state. Also, Rav the Meimer dim also Tzuras HaPesach abnei kol doivim b'shnei kanim kol shu v'kan al gabeim. Kol makam tefach machsher kavase di ha oi hai machsher. So according to the second lashon, you would not need to make your kanim as wide as we did over here. Boink, boink, right? You could have your kanim be a very minimum shear, and the Tzuras Pesach would work. Or a tefach would work, in which case you wouldn't need to have the kanim. Up to you. Pick one or the other. And the third lashon is that you need both. Tefach etzel hayotze v'kanim v'shekanagde v'kanim shal gabeim koi mitefach zeh l'kanim shal zavis. Oh boy! So what that means is you're gonna need your third wall. I'm gonna lower it, even though we don't need to, just to make it a little bit more clear. You're gonna have your third wall, which is a tefach sticking out. You're also gonna need at least minimum shear kaneh on the other side, and you're gonna need you're also going to need the kaneh on top. So that means you need a Tzuras HaPesach and a tefach. Okay. All right. And now we have that story. I think this is what pushed Rashi to do that, because Rashi was geires to ka'avet tefach soichek, which is Rav Simeon. To ka'avet tefach soichek, it's like it's going to be Simeon. L'sarva lamar, v'teres nami, hi. Nope. He said, I go with the other lashon of Rava that you need both. Okay. End of sugya. Weiter. Shtayim kehilcha son. All you need for a sukkah is 2 walls, full walls, and 1 even a tefach. Omar Rabba v'chein leShabbos. I love this sugya. That this works on Shabbos also. Any Shabbos? Sagt Rashi v'chein leShabbos afi sh'tzarich leShabbos shalosh mechitzos le'aseh es rishos hayachid. Even though on Shabbos you would typically need 3 full walls around an area to make it a rishos hayachid. Not Shabbos Chol Hamoed Sukkah. Shabbos Shel Sukkah is mutter lismech al mechitzos Sukkah. Im also b'shesar rabim samach lePesach Sukkah de'im ba'el shtayim kel chatzon shishis afilu tefach machnis u'meitzei heimena leveisai. V'avagav de b'shar Shabbos is lemishteri. Inami b'shar mechitzos she'inan shel Sukkah lemistru b'hachi l'Shabbos like Mr. Bahachi, the Shabbos Sukkah Sharia, the mi goy de hahu tefach, agmeri rachman al meishem mechitzos Sukkah, deli havi le defen shleim bal Sukkah, v'defen nami b'Shabbos, the Sukkah le'inyan Shabbos. So, what's that mean? Here's what it means. Here, this guy, let's pluck a house into our scene. Oh dear. Who destroyed all of our houses? I know who destroyed them. I destroyed them when I was messing around with them in a different sugya. No, but I wonder if any houses have survived, or if I was mamish machriv every single one of them. Oh, look, we have a sole survivor. Okay, because we opened it I think we were doing a sugya in Erevin. We opened it to the back, and that made it a unique component. So the churban did not affect it. Okay, let's save that house, and let's move it in a way that it is open to Rishos Harabim. I mean, we could totally do that through the back door. Why not? What just happened? Here we go. All right. So this guy's house is open in the back, or the front, really, to Rishos Harabim, and obviously, you cannot carry from your house into the Rishos Harabim. And on Sukkot, the guy built himself a sukkah. Let's borrow one of our sukkahs from over here. I'm going to borrow this one and modify it slightly. Okay. So this guy is going to be building a sukkah right by his house. But the sukkah in our example here has 3 walls. It also has a Turas HaPesach, but we're totally not going to do that. Let's just go with the basic. Shtayim kel chasa and revius and shlishis afilu tafach. And I'm going to try to make this as dramatic as possible. The wall that I'm going to take out, I'm going to completely remove this wall. And the reason I'm doing that is because his house also has a wall, right? So the wall of his house is one of the walls of the sukkah. And we also have this, which is the other wall of the sukkah. And we have a tefach wall. And we have schach on top, except looks like I need to move the sukkah a little bit closer to his house so that the schach reaches. Okay, great. Now, if the guy did this on some random Shabbos, he would not be allowed to carry things from his house into the sukkah because that's a complete Rosh Hashanah. That's not enough of a mechitza to close it in for Shabbos. But if it's also Sukkos, it's Shabbos Chol Moed Sukkos, or Shabbos Yontif Sukkos, then he would be allowed to bring things from his house out into the sukkah, or carry things around in the sukkah more than Daled Amais, because since for Hilchas Sukkah it becomes a partition, as if that area is its own space. It's going to also happen for Shabbos. Yeah. Here. Hey. Oh, that's not my transparent wall. What is that? Okay, what's going on over here? What happened to my, cool transparent wall thing? Ah, this looks like it. Yeah. Okay, so now we have a conceptual Shabbos wall. A conceptual sukkah wall. Really? I thought it was going to be transparency. What happened? Alright, I'm just going to make it a cool huggy woggly wall here. Yeah, here we go. Alright, it would be a cool conceptual wall, except how come it isn't on this side? What is going on over here? Alright, what if I do this kind of thing? Is this going to be semi-transparent? There is something lurking within this wall that is not allowing it to become what I want it to be. I'm going to delete the wall and try again. Why do these weird things always happen? I feel like these things don't usually ever happen at all. Okay. Here, let's make it yellowy. There! Here we go. Alright, now we have our cool conceptual halacha wall, and we're saying that because it is a wall for Sukkot, it's also a wall for Shabbos, and now that Sukkah is a Rosh Hayachid, he can bring things in and out of his house from the Sukkah to the house, back and forth, and that's okay. As the Gemara says, Omar, sorry, is this Rava? Bach changed it to Rabba, v'chein l'Shabbos, Migoi, to have your doifin in Sukkah, have your doifin in Shabbos. It's a wall for Sukkot, it's a wall for Shabbos. Eisvei Abaye, Frekt Abaye, Mi Amrinon Migu, we say that. Ve'hatanya, you have a brisa which says, doifin Sukkah, kedoifin Shabbos. The wall of a Sukkah is like a wall of Shabbos, uvavad, sh'le'yeh ben kona l'chaver, sh'ayshut t'fachim. that you can't have, if you make your wall out of thin reeds in a line, there can't be a gap of 3 tvachim. V'yaseira Shabbos al Sukkah, and Shabbos has a chomer over Sukkos. Shabbos ain't teretz ela ba'emim merubal aparat. Shabbos is going to need a majority of the area sealed. Masha'in kein b'Sukkah, as opposed to a Sukkah, which you can get away with a third wall being a tafach. My love, Yaseira Shabbos de Sukkah, a Sukkah. That Shabbos, even on Sukkos, is still has a chumrah that it might be a good Sukkah, but it's not a rishus hayachid. Like Rabba would say back, Yisera Shabbos de Alma al Shabbos to Sukkah. That's saying that Shabbos has a chumrah over Shabbos and Sukkos when it would be kosher for a Sukkah and Shabbos. Okay, Abaye would say, but Yahachi listening to Ami, Yisera Sukkah de Alma, a Sukkah de Shabbos. So why wouldn't it say that a milo that Sukkah in general would have over a Sukkah on Shabbos? Ilu Sukkah da Alma by a tefach soichek. When you're doing it for a Sukkah on Shabbos, you would need a tefach soichek. I'm not actually sure why. We'll see Rashi. Ilu Sukkah da Shabbos loy by a tefach soichek v'sagi belachi deha at hu de amrit zikecha v'mavay sheshelachi kosher. Whoa. Zakt Rashi, and there's going to be a bunch of them, and they're long. So this is a Baye's Kasha on Rabbah. So Bryce, a Deifin Sukkah, Deifin Shabbos, called Sidei Defano Shetiru Chachamim LaShabbos. All types of walls, Kigain, Mechitza Shal Shasi B'lei Erev. If you have a wall of just verticals without horizontals, Kida Amar Be'erevin Mekifin Bekanim. So let's pull up our Erevin stuff. All right, here we go. So, Makif, if someone has an encampment on Shabbos, Makif and Bekanim, you can surround the camp with reeds of as long as the area between each reed is going to be less than 3 tefachim. So over here, yeah, we have an encampment on Shabbos. These guys, they're camels. They are a shiara. And if you don't have a gap of 3 tefachim, then you're good. V'af al pi, Rashi continues, sherochav kane ene elamolay etzba, even if each reed is only a finger's breadth in width. V'yesh ben kane lekane sheish tefachim chaser mashahu, and the gap between each of these reeds is going to be just under 3 tefachim. The Va'ika parts Merubala I made, and there's more open space than closed space, which even though this picture isn't as dramatic, but it's definitely more open than closed. Shopper dummy, it's fine. Damrin on love. But we say it's like there's a connection over here. And Vavale Kulai I made. And it's as if all of it is that way. I shall Erev B'lei Shasi, or if it is horizontals, if you have 3 ropes wrapped around, so the verticals here don't really help because they're spaced too far apart. All that you have is the horizontals, that the space between them is less than 3 tefachim into the ground. So if you made a sukkah like that, it would also be kosher. But if making a sukkah this way, make sure that you are within your 3 alma gaps, or else you're beyond love at helping you. And this is only when you're talking about the entire area. When we say that you need to have a majority sealed off in a halachic way, that's only most of it. But you can have entrances. It would be, for example, I'm just going to delete some of these over here. That's okay. You have an entranceway into this area that's halachically sealed off. Let me just fix what I just did. Shabbos and the Mishnah continued. The Brisa continues that there is a chumra and Shabbos over Sukkah. HaShabbos ein niteres elam yesh ba psach. Im yesh ba psachim harbish ein behem tzuras HaPesach v'rabim aloimin v'alilei aloimin. That by Shabbos, if you're going to have a lot of entryways and you don't have a tzuras HaPesach filling in the gap, so once we knock away the majority of... Ooh, I think I just almost knocked out a camel also. All right, we have saved him. Once you go in the way that now there is less area that is closed off than there is open, now it's not going to be anything. Let's restore what we have destroyed. And Shabbos works at Umash and game of Sukkah. Sukkah's not going to work that way because Sukkah, the Sagile Rashi is b'shtayim kel chasan u'shishis afilu tefach v'afilu hayu lo psachim b'shtei adefanos achalish nayim v'kim mitztarfes lu b'adi shtayim aprutzais havali parts meruba sharia. And even if Rashi's stressing that you might think that if you have two walls of a Sukkah and the third one a tefach, you already have a majority of your Sukkah surrounded. But Rashi says it doesn't have to be that way. You could just as easily have openings. Here's a here. No, this sukkah has too many walls, right? This one already has 3 walls and another one. But let's use it anyways. Here. Let's take. First of all, I'm going to take away this wall. So now all it has is the minimum 2 and the third is a tefach. But, and you might say, fine, but that's still the majority of it. Yeah, but what if it's missing parts in the middle? Which is okay. Here, I'm basically just taking chunks out of the wall. How come the wall is still there, huh? Goodbye, wall. All right, now... And you could also have you can make another opening in the walls over here. Let's see if this one will disappear. Nope. All right, we got to do it ourselves. So now, yikes, we no longer have a majority of the area surrounded. It's still going to be good because you have your 2 walls with doorways in them, and the third one, afilu tefach. And that's something that will be worked by Sukkah and not by Shabbos. And this is what Abaye is asking as a kasha on Rabbah. We did that. My love. So isn't this talking? Even if it's Sukkot and Shabbos, and we're saying that it's not going to help you for Shabbos. You're not going to be able to carry. You can use it as a sukkah on Shabbos or Yontif or Chol Hamoed when it's Shabbos on Sukkot. You can use it as a sukkah, but you can't carry things around in and out. Which Rabbah says back, loy, no. The Bryce says no. Rabbah is saying, really, if it's Sukkot also, if it's Sukkot, then on Shabbos it will be okay. And Hachigamar say Hilchos Tiltul Shabbos to Alma, Hilchos Tiltul Shabbos to Sukkah. Regular Hilchos Shabbos about carrying things around is going to be more chomer than Shabbos, even Shabbos on Sukkot. Shabbos to Alma, there's Elba Imirad, like Limar Bamigo. You can't say, oh, it's a Sukkah, so it counts for Shabbos. V'Shabbos is Sukkah niteres mishum migo. So now the Gemara asks, Rashi speaks it out. V'Shabbos to Alma, ka'omar v'Shabbos to Sukkah, v'Hilchos hechsher Sukkah shavin mishum migo. If indeed anything that's a good Sukkah is also a Rosh Hashanah for Shabbos, listening nami Hilchos hechsher Sukkah to Alma, dechol al Hilchos hechsher Sukkah to Shabbos. If you're going to say such a migu, then the Gemara is asking, Sukkah is going to end up being more chamor than Shabbos. Vilu Sukkah to Shabbos, imasuya kemavoish, they davne says, Zuka negetzu sagde bez lechi zakav etz layete, avagav de in rach bei tafach, the migu davi doifen in Shabbos. Avi nami doifen the Sukkah. The Hamar. Mishum tislei migu amar hachi. L'didach. Damar tislei migu. Amar hachi. L'didach ta'amar lechi mishum mechitza. V'zek l'mavi mefolish sheish loy lechi chayiv. Am dereis mechitza hi. U'mitech shasayachid nami. Midrabanan also midaraisa miyamutar damar mishum tislei migu amar hachi. So Abaye is really attacking Rabbah now, and he's saying, "You hold." Here, let's find our sukkah. Where is our sukkah? Here it is. So, Rabbah had said, I'm not going to do this with such detail, but I'm just going to make a mavui mefulash. It's a shusarabim over here. And if you would put up a tiny lechi, Rabbah says that it is now Irishas HaYachid. Now, this is something that would not help for a sukkah. And the reason why it would not help for a sukkah is because it's not going to be 3 tvachim. It's not even going to be a tefach, I'm sorry. Here, look, this lechi is sticking out the tiniest bit. It's nothing, it's pathetic. It's good for Shabbos, according to Rabbah. And now, even though we wouldn't recommend carrying things from it to your house, he would say that someone who throws something from Irshas Harabim into it is chayiv min Torah, because he's saying, really, it's Irshas HaYachid now. So this is something that Shabbos has over. This is something that Sukkah has over Shabbos, a chumrah that it wouldn't be good for a Sukkah. But I think Abaye is asking, it's a Sukkah. If you put tzchach on top of it, it should be kshera if it's also Shabbos, because it is a mechitza for Shabbos. So I'm back in the Gemara. Is here sukkah the Alma, sukkah the Shabbos. You sukkah the Alma by Tavach Seichek. The sukkah the Shabbos by Tavach Seichek. Was actually lechi. The other with the Amar Tzikram Mavishish lechi kosher. Anu the Amar. When did you say it? By saying migu. And obviously, lechi mishum mechitza. So Rabbah will be saying, yeah, it's true, we would say such a migu. But it goes without saying. Because we already said, Hilchas Sukkah, which is more lekula, can modify Hilchas Shabbos with a migu. So Kavachomer Hilchas Shabbos could modify Hilchas Sukkah. Gufa. Amar Rabbah. So now we have Rabbah saying, If you put Oh, Rashi, I'm still on the Rashis from before. Mishum de Mireshish Minalay, Dash the Mikilta Lachamirta Amar Migo, Miu Davi Dive in the Sukkah Tequila, Dive in the Shabbos, the Chamir, Mechamirta Kilta Mi Boy, the Mavish Lachizok of the Kashal Sukkah B'Shabbos. So again, Gufa. Amar Rava, Sikech Lagabi Mavish Lechi Ksheira. Okay. The Amar Rabba, Sikech Lagabi Pase Birais Ksheira. Ooh, wow, it's an Erevin burst. I wonder. Yeah, we're gonna have to dig up that file also. This is the sugya of Pase Birais, where you have the well in the Shusarabim, and you have to get the water out into a trough in Shus HaYachid. And for earlier regalim, at least, they were makel to allow you to do the diyum din. Let's find it. Hello, Oig. Hello, Oig again. Here we go. Eisen Pasi. Okay. So, Zokt Rashi. Pasi Bira'is. You can see a picture in your Rashi. The Perak Sheni de Erev Intanan. Mishnah in the second parak of Erev. There's a kula from the Chachamim for people who were ascending for Yontif. La Asais, the Bira'is, Shebishasarabim, Pasin, to make these Pasin, these walls, Arba'a, 4 of them, Kamaydiyum, then each of them went in 2 directions. And we're going to view it as if there is a wall in between them. Somewhere over here we should have, here we go, magically appearing halacha walls, right? So, typically, right, there isn't really a wall here, but we're going to view it as if there is. And therefore it comes out that there actually are walls around the well, and you can take water from inside of it and put it into a trough that's also within these walls. Alright, so plot twist. And the height of these things needs to be at least 10 tfachim. And now we're saying we're going to bring the schach from the sukkah file into the Erevin file. For some reason we can't see the schach, and I bet I know why. It's a style issue. And that still didn't help. Oh, wait. I know why, I think. It's a silly reason, but I bet that's why. Let's see. Yes! Okay. Oh, look, a sukkah appeared next to the pasin. But we want to know, what about the guy who put schach on the pasin? It's a pasnish? Nope, it works. So, of course, you're going to need a lot more schach than that over here. Alright. Please ignore the cows in the sukkah. Here, I'm going to get rid of the cows. So the guy put schach on top of his pasei bira'os. That would be a kosher sukkah, even though ridiculous. You barely have any walls, but if it's shot, it wouldn't be a kosher sukkah usually. But if it's also Shabbos and Sukkos, on that day, it's going to be kosher. So putting schach on them would be good on Shabbos. Here, I'm going to get rid of that sukkah. It's just distracting. Putting schach on them would be kosher if it's Shabbos and Sukkos. The Gemara speaks out why you need both members of Rabbah to be saying it by possibly Reis and also by a Mavim Mefulash with a Lechi. If he had just said the case of Mavoy, he might have said that's because by Mavoy there were at least 2 legit walls. I guess, yeah, you have 2 legit walls. I guess really this case is also a case of Mavoy. But you might have not thought you could say that by Pasi B'Rois, which doesn't even have one actual mechitza. Shame arba defanois or sham. I think it's shame that you at least you have walls on each side. Like a shame or sham arba defanois emalai. But by the mavod case, you don't have something going on all 4 sides, so maybe not. Pasbirois like Rashi Sham or Shame Daladium den Nightin La Baruch Stein the Kamachitza Amikam Amikan Jim den Ruch Ban Amalikotzad Viashminanach Tarti. If we just said those two things, that Shabbos can help a sukkah when it's sukkahs and also Shabbos, nechamer to the kilta. That would be telling you that when it's more lechumra, you could also apply that din that is kosher to a kula like sukkahs. Aval mikilta lechamer to imalei. You might have thought that we're not going to go the other way around and say just because something's good for a sukkah, it will also help for Shabbos. Tzricha. V'yashmina nachtartu v'yashmina nachtar minan le'ev in the Shabbos avamina mechamer to the kilta damar migo. Okay, weiter gegangen. We are now up to a new sugya. V'shachamasa meruba mitzilas psula. A sukkah that has more sun than shade is psula. It needs to have the majority of it being shaded by the schach. It's got to be the sun, which causes a problem, is sun going through the schach, not sun that's coming in through the side. Rashi chamas machmas schach peisalas bavle chamas machmas stefanos. Rabbi Yeshua Eimer machmas stefanos. Rabbi Yeshua says even if it is going through the walls, that's also going to be a problem. Omar Rav Yemer bar Shlemya mishmei da Abaye. Dr. Rav Yemer bar Shlemya in the name of Abaye. And let's open up our Mishkan file. I wish there was a better way that would just show me it, but here we go. We got the Mishkan. My da, so Rav Yemer Shlemi them v'abaya. My time there be Yeshua. Dechse. We have a pasuk by the Mishkan. V'sakoisa al ha'aroi nes ha'paroiches. So what do we have in the Mishkan? Right away over here we have a cutaway view, but I'm gonna. Oops, did I just erase everything? Let's see. Oh, okay, no, we can see things. So now, but I'm still going to remove the upper covering so we can see what's going on inside. And there is a pareiches, which is giving schach over the aron. Right now, in this Mishkan representation, the pareiches, you can see, is all bunched up. But here, let's extend the pareiches. No, not like that. Oh, here. All right. I'm just going to remove the pareiches and make a new one. Okay. Oops. Here we go. Down to the floor. And let's get the pareiches from this side to that side. And let's have it look like a pareiches. Brilliant. Oh, that's because I scaled it. That's funny. Okay. Oh, but now we have the other problem again. Oh, that's so annoying. I know how to fix it. It's just silly. Here we go. Great. So now you have the pareiches. And the pareiches is described as being a schach against the arayin. So, this is Rav Yemer bar Shlemya? Who said this? Yeah, and then that you should put the pareiches as schach over the aron. Pareiches mechitza. The pareches is not over it; it's a wall in front of it. It's called the schach. So therefore, the walls of a sukkah also need to be tzasim rumechamasa. It's like Rashi. Chamasa, yeah. Chamas machmas chach sells bavli. Chamas machmas tavanis pareches bechitzahi. It's a wall. T'chsev ivdila pareches lachem. Right? Rashi speaks out. It's a pasuk in Parshas Truma, right? That the pareches is a divider between the kodesh and the kodesh hakadashim. Alma mechitza b'schach boi k'schach boi non. V'rabanan, Rashi v'rabanan amilach. Ma'avis hakesed amar achmana. Hahu d'neikaf be'porta t'michsi k'schach. They're going to say that the pareches should actually be slightly draped over the aron. Meaning they are viewing what Rav Yeshia is saying as a legitimate argument, and therefore they're going to say that, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. There is an inyan of schach by the pareches, and the pareches has to be slightly bent over the aron. And maybe I did it a little bit too much, as porta a little bit, but I wanted to get like over the aron somewhat. That you should have it being a bit of a schach over the aron. Okay. The mechzik schach. Okay. Ooh, baby. Okay, let's do this next sugya pretty quickly because Daf Ches is a beast, and we're gonna need all the time we can tomorrow on it. So Omer Abaye says, Rabbi Yeshia, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Shammai, Rabbi Eliezer, Va'acherim. Was that 8? Kulas v'irlahu sukkah deras kava bu'inon. Say that a sukkah actually has to be pretty established and permanent. Rabbi Tanya, Rabbi Emir, Kol sukkah she'im ba arba amos al arba amos psula. Rabbi says sukkah needs to be 4 amos by 4 amos to be kshera. Deras kava ru'uya l'shtamish kavu v'neres kabayis. Rabbi Yeshia hada amram. We just said Rabbi Yeshia, who says that the walls also matter, that they have to be dense enough that you don't have mostly sunlight coming through, so that you see permanent in the sukkah. Yeah. So Tosfos says about this, al karchach ein shaven. It doesn't mean that everyone holds sukkah has to be permanent in the same way, because you'll see that there's going to be differences that you can bring out in between them. The point is, they all say that sukkah leans towards the permanent. Rabbi Yehuda detanan, sukkah shigavay l'mayla mechav amma psula. Rabbi Yehuda machsher. Rabbi Yehuda says sukkah more than 20 amos is kshera. This sounds like Rava. Zakt Rashi. Nope, no Rashi on it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that this is going with Rava's Mahalach about it being a Tiras Kava once you're 20 or above, and Rabbi Yehuda being okay with that. And it has to be made Kava to stand above 20, and he's being machsher it, so at least there's a dira that's Kava is okay. Rabbi Shimon de Tanya, Beis Kalchasim and Gemafilu Tefach, yesterday's daf, that you need 2 full walls, and the third one, even the Tefach. Rabbi Shimon Emer, Gimel Kalchasim V'Dalet Afilu Tefach. Actually, you need the 4th wall. You need 3 full walls, and the 4th wall is a Tefach one. I'm going to have to protect you from the elements. So again, it has to be more, the sukkah has to be more built up and permanent. Rabbi Gamliel, the Tanya, somebody made a sukkah on a wagon or a boat. Rabbi Gamliel, Paisa, Rabbi Kiva Machsher. Rabbi Kiva says good, Rabbi Gamliel says it's not good. Rabbi Shasfina, she gavaya maik, Sfina sayam, she gedois v'ruach ba'avai karta, Rabbi Shogalanamik even denied the mischazi ke'ena arai. So because it's bumping around on a wagon, it's a sukkah mitzvah tankmobile thing. It's not permanent enough to be kosher, according to Rabbi Benjamin Gamliel, who's also on the list of saying sukkah needs to be diras kava. Beis Shammai ditnan mishayeh reishi v'rubai b'sukkah v'shachana b'sechabayis. Beis Shammai paislein v'silel machshir. And we already had this Gemara, someone whose head was, and most of him was in the sukkah, but his table was in the house. Beis Shammai says it's no good. Shammai paislin deroy l'tashmish ba'ina. It has to be something which is usable more, and that's also leaning towards kava. Rabbi Eliezer did not. Someone who made his sukkah like a conical hut. Gag of them but in ke'achad ke'in kaveresh and gag nicker levad vadafanis levad. Rashi compares it to like a beehive, an inverted basket. Or it was pushed up against the wall. This will be a Gemara coming up in the parak, which we'll do visuals for that in Mitzvah Hashem. Rabbi Eliezer Pais al Vishain Lagag Vachol Machshirin. That's why Rabbi Eliezer is on the list. And last off, I think we have Acherim Titanya Acherim Mayim Sukkah Keshoivach Psula, a sukkah that's made like a shoivach. Keshoivach, Rashi says agula. I think a shoivach is like a dove coat of some sort. A round sukkah is pasul according to Acherim Lefisha Ein La Zaviyais. And this leads us right into the math sugya, the area sugya, perimeter excitement of Daf Ches, to be continued tomorrow in Mitzvah Hashem Yisbarach.